Hello, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Witch's Veil and Within the Cauldron. Tonight we have a guest from South San Francisco, California. And before we bring him on, I want to introduce my lovely co-host, Meeting Red. Hello, sister. How are you?
I'm good. Chrissy, how are you doing, my beautiful sister?
I am tired, but anybody in the audience says that a stay-at-home mother or grandmother
Oh,
doesn't do anything. You're wrong. We do everything, the housework, the dishes, the laundry, the kids, entertain the kids, and if we can get a shower in, we try to. So
yeah,
so
I was gonna
please
say it's
back in.
probably the one of the more stressful jobs out there, I would say.
It is, yes. I was, please respect those who does stay at home moms and grandmothers. They do a lot. So
Absolutely.
they
I
really do.
agree.
Well, we have a guest tonight that a coven sister of mine, Jody, has recommended. It's actually her brother-in-law, and I'm so excited because it's kind of like keep it all in the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm.
So, now this guy has 40 years experience as a sensitive reader,
Wow.
intuitive, psychic, clairvoyant, medium, medical seer, remote viewer, paranormal investigator, and over the years, he had the privilege to make an appearance on national TV. I mean, this guy has done a lot, you know.
In a
Most of
short time
our
frame.
yeah, most of our guests does.
Mhm.
We're very, very, very blessed. Please welcome. Now, if I chop up his last name, I'm sorry. Uh, please welcome Harvey Althaus. Hi, Harvey.
Hi,
Hey
Harvey.
there. You were close with the last name. It's pronounced Althaus, but
Okay.
you're close enough.
I thought so. I was like, what did you say? What did you say? I forgot
Yeah,
what
it's
he
okay. Yeah, it's okay.
said. Um, you have a very impressive bio, you know. You are a man of many hats.
Yes.
One thing I'm really interested in is you had the privilege to make an appearance on a national TV. So, may I ask you, what TV show was you
Okay.
on?
Actually, it was there's four times that I was on it. The first time was in 2012 on A&E's My Ghost Story Caught on Camera, season 4, episode 6. And what that show was about was kind of showcasing what I do for the paranormal. Um, Ever since I was a very small child, we're going to put some context here. Uh, why I was on TV. My earliest memories of strange things happening to me was when I was about 4 years old. Now, that's not unusual. It seems to happen to a lot of people between the ages of 2 and 5,
Mhm.
right? So that puts me right there in 4.
Mhm.
Um, I could hear things, see things, smell things, experience things that nobody else did. We could be in the same room, and they wouldn't see anything that I was experiencing. So maybe it's my over. I've been told for the longest time that I had a very overactive imagination, and most people are told that, especially when you're a little kid and you're trying to describe something going on right next to your mother, and she's like doing what side is the back of me, right?
Right.
But anyway, so this stuff has been with me all my life. I'll be 64 in June, and I only had a hiatus from it from my time I was 13 until I was 18, and when I joined the Navy. But anyway, so what I do, the shows that I've on, it showcased one thing that I found out that I could do by accident, and that's how I found out that I can do a lot of things. I found it out by accident, and it's called remote viewing. Um, I was in the paranormal and had been on and off for a little bit, nothing professional with it, just helping people. And prior 2004, before TAPS, the Transatlantic Paranormal Society,
Mhm.
hit the airwaves in 2004, I was literally that guy that was going, oh, no, no, because it's reality, right? I'm going, yeah, it's all fake. This is just Hollywood. Yeah, these guys, yeah, this is fake, everybody. Because I didn't, because it was taboo, literally
Mhm.
taboo
Right.
to have something in your house because nobody wanted to be casted as crazy in society, right? Or you that person, that crazy, woo, that person, right? Well, they would contact me to help them understand what was going on. So remote viewing is the ability to see things at a distance without being there physically.
Yeah.
Not only do I see things, but I peel back layers of history. A
Mhm.
lot of times I have filled in missing bits, and it wasn't until, and I have no idea where that comes from. But when people do deeper research, they find out that I'm correct, right? So it's kind of like they have this hole. So however I got the information, I filled it, and then it worked for whatever the scenario was, and then come to find out later on, I get a call. Hey, remember you said this? Well, how the hell did you know that? Because that's exactly what it was. So, the only thing I can't do, and you would think that this would be a hell of a tool to find missing people, right? Doesn't work that way for me. It's too painful. I tried it once,
Mm.
and it's too painful. Now, I got a
That's
bunch of
interesting.
stuff, clues, right? But I, anyways, but the reason why I was on, back to the show, is I helped a guy. It was called Elite Paranormal of Kansas City, Kansas, and a guy I'd been helping him for a few years. Using my gift of remote viewing because he worked with sensitives, but he liked the thought that I can go anywhere because I'm not limited. You
Mhm.
know, so he would be boots on the ground, and I'm revealing what physical things look like and how old the place is, and getting information and all they ever used to give me was an address, right? They didn't tell me what state, they didn't tell me what town, they just gave me name of a street and a number, right? Or some coordinates, and I was able to explain, I don't know how, what was going on, and they would know because they did a pre-interview of customers, the clients, of what is potentially going on in the house, and they didn't tell me anything.
Mhm.
That's all they gave me, and they said, "We're here. What are you feeling?" So I tell them. But also, and the weird thing was, at the same time I'm doing that, I'm also, I don't know, it's like the house is talking to me, or the building. And it's
Mhm.
going, hey, finally, you got to let these guys know that they have, their pipes about ready to burst.
Mhm.
Or up in the crawl space in the attic, the knob and tube is getting ready to burst into flames.
Mhm.
You know, I help contractors, find stuff that they can't find, regularly, and I give them an idea where to look, and they find it. So, but
Cool.
anyways, so I was on that show. Rob, who was my friend at Elite Paranormal Kansas City, he calls me up one day and he goes, "Hey, I got called by this production company, and they heard about what I do, and I want to know if you want to help me come do this show." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "They want to do a TV segment on the show called, My Ghost Story Caught on Camera, and they want you and me and Christine to fly out to I was already in California,
Mhm.
but to film this." So I did, and then that was 2012. That was the first time, and then the second time I was on a haunting. That was TLC, the Learning Channel,
Mhm.
and this was a local thing that I helped a client. Um, some really bizarre stuff was going on, and I actually had to call in a priest. I've never had to do that ever. Now he's a Catholic priest. He's Franciscan, but he was actually asked to leave his order because he was not serving the correct spirit.
Oh,
Get this, he became a priest to not do what he does, for paranormal. It just made it stronger.
oh, wow. How
Yeah, I
interesting.
know. So I was listening to a cop, mind you, called me. His wife had him call me and he said, "Get Harvey over here. You know, you don't believe in this stuff, but here we are." So that's on A&E, and on a haunting, you'd have to go back a few. And then the third time, I was on my most recent, well, second and most recent, is Netflix Haunted, season 1, episode 4, and it's called Children of the Well. And it kind of gives a genesis how I got into this. It's a story that it's about my childhood from around about 10, from the mid 60s to, more modern times. And that, I guess, kind of put me on the map, I guess, because people from all over the world were calling me.
That's awesome.
They want to be my friend, and can I help you this? I'm looking for, and I'm like, whoa, 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 this is too much. I didn't want that.
Right.
Right. I didn't want that. I just want to help people understand what's going on,
Right.
and then the ones coming out, I think, beginning of March. It's my buddies is called Haunted Discoveries. Did you hear that boom?
Oh,
That's thunder.
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Ooh. What? Talk about ambiance, right?
That was good job, Christy, to pipe that back in, to the podcast.
Yeah. So anyways, what it is, it's a oh wait. Oh yeah, it was about me, growing up with this, and about my mother. And she was kind of a crazy person and uber religious. So when you're a little kid and you see things that nobody else can, you're kind of, Mom, help me. Oh, look who's raising her hand. I thought I felt so, but anyways, yeah. So my pain.
I
So
do. Very much so.
I'm begging for help, and my mother, she would literally beat me physically with a Bible while saying scripture to
I
beat
am
the
so
demon out of me.
sorry to hear you.
And
That's terrible.
yeah, and that I could never ever tell anybody else other than in our immediate family. And my mother was so hardwired and embedded into our local St. Luke's Lutheran Church. She was in every women's group you could think of. And it was going to be scandalous if it ever got back, to the church.
Right.
So I was in church like Tuesday, Wednesday night,
Saturday,
Sunday school, you know, and it was just right across the street from where I live, so I had no excuse not going. Bible school all for during the summer, and I don't know what happened, but I was going through some stuff, and anyway, so that was that story, and then the most recent one that will be coming out, I think either March or April now. It's my buddy's show. It's called Haunted Discoveries. He has a YouTube channel. He's on Haunt TV, Tubi, and also Roku. They stream, and it's called Haunted Discoveries: Family Spirits. And what the whole show was about was to not only showcase real stories of a haunting, but they were trying to prove or try to even measure. Their whole thing is, does when a loved one passes, does it stick around enough to where, in the future, in the, years later, that when you are talking about them, they're still around and they can affect the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not gonna say what happened, but there's a lot that happened. It was kind of scared me, but um, it kind of validated their whole reason why they did this.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing was is that, like I said, I'm an investigator. I've been to a lot of places, and one of my bucket lists that I wanted to go see, but I never thought I would, is Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
I know a paranormal group that goes there at least once a year, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where it was, because it's coming out soon.
Yeah.
My non-disclosures, done.
Yeah.
And that's where they filmed it at. And
Wow. That's
and
impressive.
I hope they got everything that was happening while we were filming.
I do too, because
So
that's a pretty active
yeah,
environment for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's a bucket list of mine for sure too.
yeah. I was, you know what? And the weird thing is that uh, when they put that out there, if you have a story about a family spirit you think has been, because my mom haunted me for 12 to 15 years after she died,
Hmm.
and it wasn't until they tore down this childhood home that I had all this strife um, in Marion, Iowa. The city condemned it and tore it down. And
Wow.
once they did that, I stopped having dreams about her and her coming to me in the middle of the night, in my dreams. And, you
Mhm.
know,
Was she
for,
not Harvey? I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just kind of
go ahead.
curious. Was she not once she had passed, was she not accepting of your gift at that point?
I have
Or
no
was
idea,
she
but she
wow.
still haunted. It was a bad situation regardless, of what happened, what was happening to me paranormally. My mom, there was just something wrong with her. I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm.
she ended up dying unexpectedly in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of weird because when I was on Haunted on Netflix, it, I told that part of the story about, the night she died. I don't know if she was a dream, but she came to me. Or anyways, it was, when I saw it, it made me shiver, just for the memories of it. Right. But, it was really, surreal to say the least, but, and it's weird because after my mom dies, for years I still couldn't say anything. My dad forbid me to say anything, and only my two older sisters kind of knew what was going on, and my second youngest sister kind of had her own little thing that was happening too. She was 3 years old when my mother died in '72, and I was
Oh
10.
wow.
And we both, in the same night she passed away, we both kind of had a similar visitation at the same time, but in
Yeah.
different parts of the house, right? So, but
Mhm.
anyways, yeah, so it'll be the fourth time either in March or April, but I'll let you guys know,
Yeah,
so we
absolutely.
can get it out there.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
so the Netflix I'm still on. It's Haunted season 1, episode 4. And if you could TLC, if you still have it, some people, they go on. You can find it streaming someplace. You'll find it on, a haunting, and then I have yet to find my ghost story caught on camera. So I could revisit it because it's so old.
Right.
But after appearing, I've been pretty busy,
I bet.
especially after 2004, because after Taps came on TV, it's just like people came out of the woodwork,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, somebody broke the mold. It's really happening.
Right.
And then there went from being, I mean, I was doing stuff in Iowa growing up out in the country. There was a lot of abandoned farmhouses that I used to go, and I had a Casio tape recorder, and I had an hour tape on two sites, so I had 2 hours, and a Kodak 110 camera, and I'd go into these houses, and boy, did I get some stuff.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. This
but not
there
really,
is a
but
lot
not
of
really knowing, not really
Yeah.
knowing what to do.
Right.
there is a lot of abandoned farmhouses and sheds and everything that you drive by and you just like, I know something is over there.
Yeah,
You know?
I
I
can't.
I've
Go
done
ahead.
that too because I've been to Iowa once, Pomeroy, Iowa, and I'm driving by a location. The house was absolutely beautiful, and at the time, I was married to my first husband, so we kind of trespassed a little bit to look
Mhm.
in, and it was just really cool to
I've
see
done
the
that.
inside. Yeah,
You're not alone. It's not that I don't go. I don't go in, but
yeah,
there's been
we
times
didn't.
I had to stop. I'd drive like a half mile down, and I'd turn around and come back because I felt for sure somebody was looking out the window at me.
Right,
And I
It
got
does feel that
pictures.
way. Yeah.
Some people, you know, pareidolia, is a
yeah,
huge concern.
right.
But when you have this looks like a body figure in a house looking out an upstairs window that has no windows
You
Mhm.
can't
and
count
no curtains
paranoia.
on it,
Yeah, it's not that.
who
Oh,
knows?
wow. Yeah.
Well, I want to say I'm so sorry that you went through that, and I'm so glad you stuck with your gift because I mean, it's
I didn't want
wonderful.
it.
I think our gift is wonderful if
Well, I'm going to be honest with you.
I know you didn't want it.
I mean, there was a couple times when I didn't feel I could handle it anymore because I was
I
being
think we
pursued
all
by
found
whatever
that.
this was on this side and being pounded on this side.
Right,
So I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
right.
And I talked about it that in the haunted, I didn't think they were going to do anything, but they did. And my sister goes. My oldest sister's okay. So in haunted, my oldest sister's there. My second youngest sister's there. My oldest daughter's there, and a really good friend. It's like I'm sitting around telling my story, and then they reenact it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was so nervous when it finally aired, and I just about puked. I mean, they're very close, to what was going on. But when I told them I was pretty poor, growing up in the 60s and 70s, but you're going to see, and this is a disclaimer, um, they take Hollywood,
Yeah,
artistic license.
right.
Yep.
And not only do they make it look poor, but they make it look like we're back in the turn of the century of the 20th century.
Wow.
So everybody going, oh, were you in the cowboy days? No, I was not. No. I mean,
Well, I
this
was
is 60s. They're showing it looks like 1904.
yeah, right.
But but I mean, uh they told me they end up using my segment, my episode, as one of two out of the first original six to they presented to the networks again, to get another season.
Nice.
And by the time the second season started, it was the guy who directed us called me and he says, "Hey, just want to let you know. I don't know if you know this, but we got our statistics, and you have been seen by 17 million people."
Wow.
Wow.
That is awesome. That's
It
impressive.
is.
Very,
Yeah,
very impressive.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, so what do I get out of it? I don't think I didn't get paid. I mean,
Yeah,
they flew me out there and put me in a hotel, but I didn't
right,
get any. They didn't
right,
pay any. They didn't pay for my anything other than
right.
my flight out, my flight back. But it's unique,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you've ever done it before, but they'll they ask you something, you answer them, and then they want you to answer it again, but in a different position or a different tone.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I'm
but
aware of
I
that
get
too.
it. But I'm not in it to be on TV, you
Mhm.
know. But when I'm asked to do it because I'm a part of something, and they really want me to do it, then because I'm going to help them, I help them.
Right.
That's good.
You know,
Really good.
but I've read so many people. It's probably in the thousands.
Wow.
And I've always been able to read people even at a young age. So I mean, and
Yep.
just like you, uh, Ed, I've had people who have passed in my family or friends of my family.
Mm-hmm.
They come to me and tell me goodbye, and I'm the first one that knows they're dead.
Right.
So it's like, wow. I mean, as for example, my stepmom's cousin was dying from cancer, and I knew he was dying from cancer. I had seen him at my step uncle's funeral, and he looked, pretty bad. He comes up to me and gave me, he said, "I'm still here for the present," you know. And anyways, I talked with him for about 30 minutes, and because you had funeral, you're talking to the family and going all over. I wasn't even home a week, and I had a bad day at work. I came home, my kids were pretty young, and I'm sitting there taking off my shoes, and then we had hot dogs and beans and potato chips that night because it was summer. And just as I took my shoe off, I just looked down and I looked at my wife and I said, "Oh, Freddie's dead."
Oh.
And about 3 minutes later, my stepmom called to let us know that he had passed away that morning.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yep.
And when I do readings for people, as you know, Red,
Mm-hmm.
um, you feel things,
Yep.
from people. And you got to be very careful
Yeah.
how I dance around the bush a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not up to me, because it's like, here's this ticking time bomb,
Right.
you know, and
Yep.
people can manifest however they're going to manifest whatever it is you say. And
Right.
as you know, you have some people that can't make it through the day without having guidance from you.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, I'm not a horoscope, guys.
Well, and you're not a
You want the
personal
daily
coach.
horoscope? You can go online nowadays.
Right. And you're not a personal coach, that you would
No, I'm
daily
not.
give
But
a personal
but
coach lesson. Yeah.
I have encountered things in people, and it's too late, even if I said something.
Right.
But I know what it is.
Right.
I knew my father when I first really understood that I could medically see things. It was when my father in 1987, I don't know exactly, but it was the mid 80s. I had a dream that I was with him in a doctor's office, and he was standing behind an old time fluoroscope, the precursor to the x-ray
Oh,
machine.
yeah.
And he's standing in back of it, and I'm walking down the doctor's office hallway, and I'm going, "Dad, where are you?" And he says, "I'm in here." "What, where?" "Follow my voice." So I go in, and he's behind this machine, and I see, it's funny because, from his check, from his shoulders up, there's no shirt on or anything, and he had no pants on, obviously, but I could see his inside, his bones and stuff on the inside, from his collarbone down to his navel.
Right.
And he leans over the screen. He goes, "What is that right there?" And I saw it, and it was a big white mass. It was about the size of a small orange, like a
Tangerine.
yes, a tangerine, right? And it was in the upper third of his left lung,
Oh,
you
no.
know.
Yeah.
And I said, "Dad, that's lung cancer. That's metastasized lung cancer." I said, That's almost stage 4,
Mm.
you know." And I woke up, waited a day, and I had the dream again. And then he said, "Well, look at my heart. What's going on with my heart?"
Oh,
I
no.
said, "Dad, yeah." I said, "Dad, your right ventricle, your lower right ventricle, you're gonna have an episode. You're gonna have a myocardial infarction."
Right.
I didn't know what that was.
Mm-hmm.
So I called that night because it worried me so much. Well, everything was fine, nothing. And then the next morning, I get a call from my stepmom, and they had to take my dad to the hospital because he had a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
He had a lower ventricle myocardial infarction.
There you go. Wow.
And then that's when they found out he had cancer
Right.
in his lung. Now, my dad was a heavy smoker. I mean, heavy smoker, not a chain smoker, but heavy
Right.
enough. Close. He was like a chain smoker wannabe,
Right.
right? So when he was diagnosed, after he survived a heart attack, they found the cancer, and I had remember because I had told my mom about this. I told her where it was, how big it was, how it was lying in his lung. And I also told him, I said that the only way he's going to survive, I said they're going to give him radiation. He's not going to be able to do. He's not going to be able to do chemo
Mm-hmm.
because they said his body won't take it. His body is physically not able to take chemo. So they did radiation. I was correct on both of those things.
Wow.
And his my stepmom tells me that his oncologist was really like, well, who's this other doctor you're seeing?
Dr. Harvey.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from. It's just,
Right. Yeah.
but it happens like that. I mean, one of our a close friend of our family that we was literally my second family, my sisters and our second family growing up. Their oldest daughter, we had a dream. I was at their house and I was so happy. This is the old farmhouse in Iowa that we used to just love this place, right? And we pull up there and all the people were outside. They were loading up their cars and with picnic stuff, and we were going to go out in the old cow pasture, and go down by the slough and have a picnic like we used to do. And I'm running around saying hi to everybody, and then all of a sudden, the mom of our friends goes, "Harvey, would you go in and tell?" And her name's Paula. Paula, come on, come with it. Just hurry up. So I go in there, and it's just the house I remember, and I'm going, "Wow, we're here." And I open the door and I go in the kitchen and there's Paula at the end of the table. Her back's turned to me. And I go, "Paula, come on, let's go. Your mom, we're ready to go." And she didn't say anything,
Oh, no.
but it was weird because the chairs were stacked up on either side and I couldn't get around to go talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Paula, come on." And then she said, without turning her head, she says, "I'm sorry, but I'll never be able to come with you ever again."
Wow.
And I said, "What do you mean never come with me again? Come on." Because, she used to be the trickster of the family and was funny. And she says, "No," she says, "Harvey," she says, "I'll never see you again."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So next morning I woke up and I'm like, what the? And so I called home and my stepmom goes, "No, we haven't heard anything about that." Because by that time I kind of knew that was, something.
Right.
Because when I have those dreams, it's like right now, it's lucid, it's
Right.
real. And about a week later, my older sister calls me to let me know that she passed away.
Oh wow.
She had ovarian cancer and she didn't even know it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And by the time she probably knew it, she probably already knew she was dying from it.
Right.
Because her mother ended up, I talked to her about it. She said, yeah, she says because she was the oldest one, she had her own car and stuff. She'd go to the doctors, but she said she never share anything. What was going on? She said, "I don't know." Yeah. So medical seeing, remote viewing. I never consider myself a medium, right? Extra tall, yes. I'm 6'5". That's my joke. See, you got it. Thank you. But but when I do readings for people, I'm an energy reader.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to read palms. I learned how to do tarot cards. I learned how to do runes. I do chakra. I mean, I do it all. But what I found out, especially when it comes to medical things, why I'm so accurate is because I can sense their chakras.
Yeah.
I can sense if they're aligned or not.
Right.
I can, and just by their vibrations, because they rule certain sections of your body, just by their vibrations or non-existent.
Right.
I know they got something going on in that area.
Right.
right? So it took me many years. People, how do you get all that information? I'm like, it just comes to me. But as you
Yeah.
know, guys, it's how do you snag certain certain explicit information from all the
Hmm.
chaos,
Yeah.
right? It just comes to me.
Right.
Mhm.
It's very true.
It just
Yeah.
comes to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it
So
comes in
so
different ways. It can be sight, sound. It can be all different, depending on the case, as you know. So.
right, right. Um, and people always ask me, well, how do you survive day to day if you're that sensitive? I learned how to turn it on and turn it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that has saved me like no other.
That's the key. It
And
really is a key.
I mean, it is so simple because all it is a mental exercise that I do.
Hmm.
I don't meditate. People say, well, to be a guru like you are, you must. How do you work? How do you survive? You're meditating all the. I ain't doing anything. The
Hmm.
only time I meditate is when I sleep.
Hmm.
Well, that's what Edgar Casey did. That's why they called him a sleeping prophet. But
Right.
Mhm.
I don't function like that. I don't need to meditate.
Hmm.
Now, one thing that used to get my wife was sometimes I would just go up to a complete stranger. I don't know these people, but something tells me I needed to talk with them. And I have actually saved people from financial ruin. I have saved people from thinking about offing themselves.
Hmm.
I mean, one guy was on the way to do it, right?
Right.
Um,
Terrible.
you know, I'm an animal lover. I had my fair share of dogs and cats over the years, but for some reason, dogs I don't know, I'm very accurate telling how old they are.
Mm.
I mean, even the ones that are like, let's say a Brittany Spaniel, 14 years old, looked like he's 7 years old.
Right.
I know, and then I know that there's something wrong with them.
Oh, yeah.
The fur baby's parents go, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Just humor me." But is
Mhm.
your dog's experienced this, and this? I don't know you. How do you know that?
Yeah.
And then I find out that it was correct.
Right.
See, now let me. You guys will agree with me on this. Abilities, gifts, whatever you want to call them, wherever they come from. I believe that we are all born with them.
Hmm. We are.
But
I
what
agree.
happens is that's why little kids, babies especially,
Mhm.
will look right past the mom or dad and
Right.
they'll go in this full on engagement with somebody that they're experiencing that is
Mhm.
there for them, is there. Just like my mom, where do I look? You know,
Yeah.
they see that. And usually around 5 to 7 is when it's still kind of there, but not as strong as it was. But how strong it was for me and for you guys and for anybody else out there, you're not crazy.
Right.
So what happens is people, well, if everybody has it, why can't I use mine? Because of your bringing up.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be
Absolutely.
from it could be from religious dogma.
Right.
Yeah.
See, even the church, the Holy Catholic Church, and every other church you can think of,
Mhm.
they know this stuff's out there. It says in Deuteronomy 18 through 29, I think, that
Mhm.
don't seek this out because if you do, beware of sorcerers, witches,
Yep.
spellcasters, necromancers, all that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then
True.
Leviticus is the law of how to handle them. And everything comes out death, right? And I think
Yeah.
my mom was into that part of it. I think she relished that side of it. But she probably figured, well, if I kill him, I'd go to jail, but I'd be justified because I'm doing
Right.
God's work.
Because
Yeah.
it's religious. It's for God's. It's God's. God's work. God's help. Yeah.
So I've had people, well, how can you do it? Has to come from God. And I said, well, you know what? You can, if that's, if your God is that, I don't want that God.
Right.
I want the God that of the New Testament. I want Jesus, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus would go, yeah, I'm with him,
Right.
right? Because what was Jesus? What was he doing? He was doing some weird stuff. Let's put it out there. Raising the dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Well,
So
and he's 3 in 1. I
yeah,
mean, if you look at
exactly.
that, it's
Yeah,
Jesus. It's God, Jesus, and then
yeah.
they
So
changed
people,
it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Holy
people,
Ghost.
even my family, parts of my family, but you were so you guys went to church all the time. I said, yeah. You can thank my mother for ruining it for me because I don't want
Exactly.
that God. Don't
Right.
need that God.
Right.
And people always ask me, well, what do you believe in? And I tell them this: I do believe in a higher power of myself. For Jesus Christ even said, "The temple of unto the kingdom is through me, but through
Right.
you."
Right.
Yeah.
And where does that say to build a brick and mortar thing?
Right. It doesn't.
Yeah. And where does it say that you have this conclave of raspy old men
Don't get me
in charge
started.
of everything? And people don't understand, not even some evangelicals don't even know this. The Bible, the modern version Bible, and was the first canon of the Holy Roman Church under Emperor Constantine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who this is 325 years after Christ was alive,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So he left Rome to his only son. He left it to him. Here, son, here's the keys to Rome. Daddy's going to go over here to the Byzantine Empire.
Right.
I'm going to kick the shit out of them, kill them all, and take over their business. But by that time, he's going, you know what? I'm tired of killing people, raping and pillaging and domineering. I
Mm-hmm.
still want to do that because it pays well, but how can we do that a little bit more subtle? Anybody have any ideas? Um, well, back in 300 some years ago in Judea, there was this guy, they call him a Christian. They call him Jesus Christ, who I think was an actual man, who was very wise, who knew things, who sensed things, who was empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And was also knew science,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And was literate. But I want to know where he was from the time he was 12. He disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Mormons pick up
It's
from there.
23.
Yeah, the Mormons pick up from there that he was magically transported over here,
Mm-hmm.
and he got the oh god, I can't remember the name of the planet that the Mormons God's from. But anyways,
Oh yeah. I can't remember.
their
Yeah.
ambassadors were here with the Anasazi Indians, the ancient Indians, and were teaching Christ. And then he
Mm-hmm.
grew up, and then they brought him back. Oh, he's 33. Let's take him back to Jerusalem. Let's plot him down,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
then he has this, yeah. So he was a wise man who knew corruption was ruining everybody's day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was the corruption wasn't coming from Rome. The corruption was coming from their own ruler, King Herod.
Right.
And he liked it with the Romans being there, but he didn't want any competition, right? And
Yes.
what did Pontius Pilate say? Indeed, Christ, give Rome what is Rome's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pontius Pilate, I wash my hands of this man. He
Right.
has done no crime against Rome.
Right.
And King Herod said, shit. and thus, and
The
thus,
martyr.
and thus, Mel Gibson years later, The Passion, all that stuff, right? But look, I don't try to convince anybody of what I do. I'm not a religion. I am myself. I know my higher purpose on this world is to help others. Doesn't matter who you are. You need help on a spiritual plane.
Right.
Mhm.
I help. Because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Prior 2004, of Cats coming out, you know who the largest component of clients that I helped were? Christians,
Oh, interesting. I love that.
especially
I
especially
can see that though.
especially Catholics,
Right.
because Catholics used to bless houses,
Right.
and then they stopped doing it, and then they did it again if you would pay them,
Right.
but then they stopped doing it, and then because it's such a taboo to experience stuff, you're a Christian. How come this is happening?
It's demonic.
That's the last thing you want to do, like my mother, to let the church know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's very true. Very true.
Very
right.
yeah. Everything
So
you said has been true, yeah.
yeah, so you guys, me, and other like us, we are the light workers, right? We are the ones that are the beacon in the darkest of nights,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
right? We have something that we need. We don't know what it is yet, but we're around, or we've come awake to our abilities that we have, that everybody has, right? And they always talk about the second coming of Jesus Christ coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my thing that it's the end of the world, people.
Yeah. The
Oh
doomsday.
man.
The doomsday people.
Even the whole thing with 2012, the mind calendar. They had
Mm-hmm.
those people back then. They got
Yep.
it wrong.
Well,
Yep.
and even like look at when we were going to turn 2000.
Yeah.
I
1999.
mean,
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
the air,
computers are not going to work.
yeah, airplane's gonna drop out of the sky.
Right.
Get your
Exactly.
get your flight in before January 1st.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
I
you
think
might
the
die in a
end was
plane crash.
I think
Right,
the end
right.
was supposed to come about 4 or 5 times since then.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Exactly. But think about it, especially without getting political, what's happening right now in the world,
mhm.
right? Everywhere in the world, right? Why the hell would Jesus want to come back now?
True.
Because according to John in Revelations, when the announcement of the second coming of Christ, which nobody knows the hour, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And they even have it how big the new Jerusalem is. It's going to come down from the sky, and it's going to crush the old one, right? And then it's supposed to open its gates and allow those who have been righteous and who have
Mm-hmm.
been love thy neighbor and who has kept the covenant,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know. But I'm kind of afraid for some of these Christians, especially the evangelicals, especially the TV evangelicals,
Mhm.
like the guys that have the big mega churches. And
Right.
see, people don't understand. Evangelicals believe that their heaven is right now,
Right.
and they go out of their way to make that heaven, to have their mansions of gold,
Right. Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And how they
It's
do that, by having 30 to 50,000 people in their congregation. When they pass those, I hear I heard that Joel Osteen uses drones now to pass out the offering baskets, because there's so many people.
You
Could you
have a
imagine? You're
comment.
trying to put the offering in, and and you got this drone that's like buzzing you, more money, more money.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
Jody
So
is she
yeah.
made it
So
she made it. She said she was listening while driving home, and now she just got home so she can
Oh,
talk.
good. Yay.
so Jody, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and again, I don't when I do readings for people, it's I don't have them ask me a question. I just start talking like we're talking right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And at some point, I even tell them at some point I might start saying things that don't mean anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
They might not mean anything to you. But before I'm done doing my reading, all of it comes together,
Right. The
Yes.
pieces. It's like
and I'm like,
pieces of the puzzle.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like I said, it's really getting that certain information out of the that's flying around, that's out there in the etheric side all the time. And people are like, but how do you get specifics? I don't know. If I did, I think I'd be a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
But but you know what the weird thing is? I can read people, but I can't read my family.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't tried to read my family, and the reason being is that I never felt like I would be taken seriously in
Right.
that aspect
Right.
because I know way too much,
Right.
So I really
Exactly.
haven't done family
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
here.
or
But at the
friends.
same yeah, but at the same time, um, it's just like some of my family members, not my immediate family members, but some of my cousins, I saw things, felt things
Mm-hmm.
that they weren't going to make it, and they didn't.
Right.
But I didn't say anything
Right.
because how am I going to tell my cousin that they're not going to live very long?
No, and I have seen that too, but I don't say anything. I mean,
Right.
I might say
It's
something to my husband, in regards to like,
right.
yeah,
Right.
this is
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
getting, but no, I
Yep.
don't.
Yep. Out of the presence of that person or
Yeah,
whatever the
correct.
situation, just out. Because, like I said, it's like a ticking time bomb.
Right.
But I mean, when I saw what I saw, and immediately, because she asked me to do a reading for her.
Mm,
She's in her early 30s. I said, yeah, okay, no problem.
yeah.
And I just for 5 minutes, and I was done. I'm like, it's like I'm not really getting anything, but I got everything.
Yeah. Right.
And then I was just like so heartbroken. And it wasn't until they left to go home is when I told my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, don't tell your stepmom.
Yeah.
That'll
Right.
kill her.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
Right.
So, but anyways, it doesn't happen like that all the time, but it's enough most of the time, if that makes
Right.
any
That
sense.
makes complete sense.
It does. Well, we're almost out of time, Harvey. But no, we do have your Facebook group
Yeah.
or page down below. Is there anything else that you want somebody to know about you? What's coming up in the future for you?
Yeah. This is the startup of my paranormal conference seasons coming up. I have a couple tentatively scheduled. One for sure. But it's out here in California. Um, and then the second one is kind of tentative, but I usually am a guest speaker, but I also take part. I'm also a vendor, so I'm doing readings while I'm waiting to be a speaker, and then you get to know people and
Nice.
you know talk stuff, and I mean, but it's kind of funny because when they find out, I mean, I'm at a psychic fair. I do psychic fairs, and then they find out I have this little sign that says, "Ask me about ghosts."
I
And
love it.
then the whole narrative changes,
Right.
and then next thing I know, there's one person I did a reading for, and she was a practicing individual Wicca, witch,
Mm-hmm.
and she came and I did this reading for her, and I says, "Does your mom know? Have you told her mom yet?" She goes, How do you know that?"
I just do.
Yeah, well, but what was really weird is there's nothing that gave it away, but when I was reading her, she's facing the front of me, and I said, so I drew this picture. I just started drawing this picture, scribbled it, and then she finally looked down. She goes, hold on. why did you draw that? And I said, I don't know. I'm just doodling. And she goes, oh my God. So what she did was she took her hood down. She moved her hair and it was a crescent moon. I drew a crescent, upside down crescent, a crescent moon with two stars on either side, but they're pentagrams.
Oh, wow.
And that was her tattoo that she had got on her neck.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great.
So, so I just got that. And then, I do readings. I only do one reading a night. And it's because I'm a preschool teacher. I have that day job,
Darn the
and
darn day job's getting in the
well,
way.
you gotta have that. You gotta have that stability,
Right.
But
Mhm.
Monday through Friday, I don't do weekends unless
Yeah.
I'm doing a paranormal conference.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So
Wow.
Awesome.
as I'm
Thank you.
here but before we go off, I don't know where this is coming from, but I kept getting something about chickens. I have no idea what that means. Does that mean anything to either one of you guys? Like live chickens?
My daughter just left her partner and they had chickens.
Mm.
And she was saying something tonight that, she missed the chickens, but then again, she didn't miss the chickens because, well,
A
chickens
lot of
is
work.
hard to take care of
Well,
sometimes.
exactly. Yeah. And it's funny, chickens will only be your friend or come up to you when you have food.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then they start acting like a cat and they kind of rub on you a little bit, kind of fluffle. I grew up on a farm. I know all about that. But isn't that strange though?
Chickens,
Just
interesting.
random chickens. And
Mhm.
I had to ask what that was. I said, like I said, I don't know where this is coming from. So it's
My
coming from
ex-husband
you,
left
Chrissy.
Yeah.
my ex-husband left me for a woman with chickens.
Ah, wow.
Sorry, I had to let that out.
Well, no, well, if that's the case, then what are you gonna do?
And they
So,
live in the house too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So just real quick about Jody. Um, I was back in Iowa for a family reunion. I think it was
Mhm.
September of last year. But anyways, her husband's sister was there, you know, and she said, I had seen her, oh my gosh, probably 40 some years, right? And she says, how long are you going to be here? I said, well, till my older sister wants to go. I don't know. And she says, if I don't call Mike right now and tell him you're here, he'll never forgive me. So, we're in Independence and they live up somewhere up close to the Mississippi River.
Yeah. I think it's on the Iowa side, but yeah,
Right,
real
right.
close to the
So,
border.
so, so she said, can you wait an hour? They were there like in 40 minutes.
Nice.
So I reconnected with Mike. I hadn't seen him in a long time. Probably about as long, about 40 some years. Um, and then I met Jody, and then she tells me she had this passion for the paranormal, you know, and she told me about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we always look for somebody to come on the podcast.
oh yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
witchy, paranormal, and stuff. So when I made a post about, hey, we need guests.
Right.
Who do you recommend? She automatic told me, oh yeah, hey, my cousin or Mike's cousin, is into that. So I'm like, oh cool. Well,
right, right.
come
Well, it was really weird because I could not tell anybody back in Iowa until after my first time on television broke.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
And one of my cousins goes, "Oh, I
NDA
know you." One of my older cousins' husband goes, "We always thought you was a strange kid, but wow."
You're really strange.
Well, tis what it is. But the strangest thing was, the ironic thing was, is that all of them pretty much affirmed to me that they all thought, everybody thought that there was something off with my mom.
No,
Never say
definitely.
anything around us,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
When she was
Yeah.
around,
Yeah.
because of my dad. But I found out, and when I was back in September, I'm talking to these cousins. This is when they're telling me, he said, "Oh yeah," she says, "Your mom, we didn't know if she's coming or going half the time."
Yeah.
And this religion stuff, and
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
anyways,
Well, Harvey, it's
Unbelievable.
been great talking to you. We'd love for you to come on maybe, because we're always making different podcasts. We kind of
Well,
comes up with brainstorm. We'd love for you to come on for maybe a paranormal panel or
mhm.
something.
sure, absolutely, yeah,
And
I'd love to do it.
well, great. Then we add you to the list to put you
Absolutely.
down this year sometime.
Right. And
So
I know a few people in on TV that do this kind of stuff, do podcasts, and they always ask me, said, "Why don't you have your own show?" I don't want it. I don't care about that. I really don't.
yeah.
I even had a producer from the first show that I was on. When he found out what I did, and it's so weird, he had, after I was done filming, he come chasing me down and said, "I want to give you a show." I said, "What?" He says, "You need to have your own show." He says, "I've never run across anybody like you." He says, "Can you really do?" He goes, "Can you really do that BS?" And I says, "Well, yes and no. It just depends." So he gave me an address, and this other guy was with him, and I'm getting all this stuff. And I said, "I need a paper and pencil." And I drew out this outline of stuff. And come to find out, it wasn't his address, it was the other guy's address.
Oh, how funny.
So not only did I draw correct, it's like I'm looking down on the top of the house. Not only did I get the correct, shape of the house is like a lazy L with a short L part,
Mhm.
but it was slightly up a hill in a canyon that you could see the ocean, right?
Nice.
So, and I even said Malibu. I said this is a wannabe Malibu location.
Right.
That was all correct. It was
Hmm.
his assistant producer's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, they didn't live too far from apart from each other, but I kept drawing this weird outline, rectangle outline. It was small on this one section of the driveway but it was outside of the garage and it was covered with tarps. I kept drawing that, and I going, what do you? There's something is either stacked over here or parked over here. And his eye goes, "See, this is what I'm giving you. You should have your own show." So anyway, so I
Oh,
said, "I tell you what," he wouldn't let it go. And he goes, "If you could tell me what's under that tarp." And I said, "Well, since this is not your place, it's that guy's project car, and I feel it's a British model from the 1950s, early 60s,
Sports
MG."
car. MG. Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh my God, how do you know that?" I never been there. I also told him to look out for, be prepared for fire.
Oh,
And two
yeah.
weeks later, they had a fire down in the valley, just below him.
Jeez.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
So, but anyway, yeah,
Well, it was
yeah. I
nice
don't care about shows. I
to.
just, I just want to help people.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that because we do
Yeah.
too. So that's really good. Um,
Right.
like I said, we have
Right.
to have you come back in sometime.
Sure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
Anybody who is in the audience, please subscribe. Check out Harvey's page. Contact him if you need any assistance. I know that he seems like he would really like to help you because he likes to help others. So go
I
jump
do.
over there and follow him, please. In the meantime, many blessings. And Harvey, just stay on for just a couple of minutes before we finish out. Um, blessings, everybody. Good night.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.